Rolling and action.
Hi everyone, we're Convergence Productions and we're going to be presenting Reminiscence.
Convergence Productions, coming up with our company name. Convergence is an act or instance of converging or combining ideas. We chose Convergence Productions because we made sure, as a group, that everyone got a say in what goes on within the production of Reminiscence. We decided on Convergence because it's what we felt represented our group the best as we converged all our ideas together to create the overall final idea.
Reminiscence. Coming up with the name Reminiscence. Reminiscence is a story told about a past event that has been remembered or characteristics of one thing that is suggested of another. We chose Reminiscence because we wanted our piece to be about how memories are held onto, how they change and how they dissipate. We wanted to create the idea that she is trying to latch on anything that would keep her there, keep her alive.
Converging our ideas. We originally developed our own ideas from Blair Witch type project into a supernatural format with intense lighting and effects to create tension and some sort of fear, to a mental illness state based in a school or at home with small aspects of a real life trigger that triggers memories and flashbacks, and finally segregating action thriller with a chase downtown, minority groups battling the majority for freedom. We then settled on our own idea.
The concept. Limbo. We merged our ideas together to come up with a piece about a girl who has been severely injured in a car accident, yet she is slowly fading away into nothing. She fades out of consciousness as her mother is screaming her name, and she is then suddenly running. But running from what? She's running from death. She's striving to hold on to her life, to hold on to her memories, to hold on to what she once had. There are a series of flashbacks and triggered dream states to create a surreal psychological maze to represent limbo, the space in between life and death.
The genre. We settled on the genre of psychological thriller. We are going to achieve this by following the conventions of the genre. The conventions of the psychological thrillers will include things like low-level lighting, shadows to create fear and tension, quick edits and changes in camera angles, increase the feeling of fear and shock once used during significant scenes, music, high tension, eerie and silence, flashbacks, time distortion, confusing the audience or showing the past to give an insight into what the characters are, why the characters are the way they are. Black and white colouring increases effectiveness of shadows. Claustrophobic spaces, entrampment of the mind, planes or house. Font / colour of the title may be written in a certain way to emphasise the theme of the film.
Our target audience. The target audience is a particular group with the product such as a film or advertisement is aimed at. Creating a content strategy without a clear understanding of your audience is a bit like setting a photo drift without navigational tools. You're out there and you're taking action, but it's not working towards a specific goal. These are situations which the marketers dread, huge amounts of time and money without a clear potential for a good ROI. The target audience is in young adults from age of 16 to 25 range because we believe it's an appropriate and interesting to that age range, but younger ages or older can watch it if they like.
The rating. We settled on the rating of a PG because all ages are admitted, but some certain scenes can be unsuitable for young children. They should not disturb children aged 8 or older. They may contain mild language or sex drug references, may contain moderate violence if justified by the context. A parent may wish to check the content before they let their child watch it or play it.
Director introduction. Our director is going to be Alfie, and we chose Alfie because he has a good idea of what the project is going to be. He knows the concept and believes that he will know how good it will look and if it will work well. Becky is going to be our cinematographer, and I'm going to be one of the actors in it. But we will all be working on costumes, set, props, mise-en-scène and editing together. The script. So if you could all turn over the pages I gave you. This is our basic first page of the script, our first draft. There is going to be more pages, but just have a little read. And I also sent round a storyboard of what we want it to look like. But that's only, once again, the first page of the script.
Imagery. We decided as a group that it would be a really interesting concept if the edges of the video faded during the flashbacks. We decided on this to help indicate between memory and the so-called real life. Lighting. We came up with the idea of showing cars' headlights during the crash scene to make it much easier for ourselves, but still capturing effective shots and to give a realistic portrayal of a car accident. Daylight will be used for the dream state scene so that the car in the nighttime will create a contrast between the light and dark within the dream state and the memories, the noises. Sound effects such as high-pitched squealing and the horn from the car will be used for the car crash scene to create an illusion that the car was travelling at a high speed, therefore causing the audience to get hooked onto the storyline right from the beginning.
Proposed actors. We decided that Megan Cave is a suitable role for Isabella, who's going to be the daughter who's going to be in the car accident and running through her memories and stuff, because we believe that she would suit the role. She's in the group already, so it makes it easier to plan and shoot around her instead of trying to find someone that it's going to be more difficult to base our whole thing around. We also decided that my mum, Donna, would play the mum because she's willing to help, she's really confident, and she's able to cry on cue, and we wanted it to be a really emotional concept.
Here are our proposed locations. Here you can see the road where the car crash will be situated, the bedroom and the kitchen where the flashbacks will occur, and the woods at Long Hill where the dream state running will take place.
I want to say that these were taken at about 4:30, 5 o'clock in the evening, so it does look really dark, but I used to walk my dog there during the day, and it is actually really bright when it's during the day.
Our proposed filming dates, we are designed to film on Saturday the 5th December and the 19th. These aren't set in stone yet, and then we've got 2 backup dates just in case the editing goes wrong or the lighting's wrong or it's raining, and they are in January 2nd and the 16th.
Why are we unique? It's unique because it wasn't just one idea. It was many ideas that have been converged together to have an impact on the final product. There aren't many films involving this storyline, if any, so we believe that it is fairly original. We want to confuse the audience but intrigue them and hook them in so they can unravel the rest of the story for themselves.
Thank you very much. Questions?
They said they wanted it to be a psychological thriller as the genre, but then they gave it a rating at PG. Is that appropriate?
Well, there is no strong language and there is no nudity at all. We were thinking on a 12A, weren't we?
We
at
were,
first?
but then it was...
I suppose the question is, it's quite a harrowing, sounds like quite a harrowing concept in terms of this girl being stuck in this place, whatever it is, and she's obviously very distressed, and the mum's obviously very distressed, and whilst there is no graphic nudity or violence or whatever, I wonder if, I agree, I wonder if PG is an appropriate...
Because you mentioned 8-year-olds as a part of the criteria that an 8-year-old mustn't be frightened by the content. So if you go for a PG, your opening won't be very frightening, won't be very intense, because it can't be.
Yeah.
And you said your target audience was 15 and over, did you not?
That's like the people that we think would be interested in it, but not necessarily the people that can watch it.
So we were basically saying with the PG, if parents feel comfortable for their children to be watching it, they can, but we're basing it on a slightly older range instead.
I think you might need to consider a higher rating if you want to achieve the effects that you seem to be suggesting that you want. Otherwise, it wouldn't be appropriate, I don't think, for that rating.
I don't think, why would somebody who's 12 want to watch it? Or 9 or whatever, do you know what I mean? Good, thank you for that. Any other questions? Anyone else? Pansy?
Did you do any research into the shots used in like psychological thrillers or like some movies?
Yeah, we were looking at montage sequences as well, so we were thinking at the beginning we could also have like short bursts as well, so that it's dark and then it bursts into the scene, but you only see like short second moments of each thing to create tension.
And it
Also,
was in like the camera like angles,
Yeah, we
like
were,
Dutch tilts and stuff.
there was also, I was thinking of, like, you know, you got the shot. If you halve the shot, you can have her running through the woods, but then on the other side of the shot, you see her still on the road in the car accident. So it switches between, and it confuses the audience more, but then they can see that it's the same girl in 2 different situations.
What films have you looked at? Like, what other film? What, in terms of research? I mean, what films have you
We've
seen?
looked at If I Stay, which is the film starring Chloe Moretz, which is quite a similar film, but it's not the same storyline. It includes like flashbacks of memories and stuff. So we can look more into that film to get ideas as into shots and stuff, and mostly music and how.
I suppose it's more about understanding the conventions of the psychological thriller. You've mentioned them, but where does that information actually come from? And what other films have you looked at?
We looked at things like Aeon Flux, which isn't a psychological thriller, but it contains a lot of the same elements, and it uses dream state situations and flashbacks to create a kind of tense and eerie overall film view.
Okay.
You said, as part of your concept, that this girl is running away from death. Will we know that? Are we supposed to know that? And if so, how will we know that?
With the
That's what
shot where she's on the road, you're going to see only like waist down of like an ambulance guy running towards her with stuff to try and use CPR, and then we might even show.
We were going to try and
Little
use some
bit.
sound effects as well, so like with the heart monitor.
Yeah,
with
the
beeping,
beeping
we were
thing.
going to use
So it'll
that.
be obvious that
Yeah,
she's
we're
kind
gonna
of.
We
try
want to
and
make
make
it
it
as clear
obvious
as
that
possible,
she
but
is-
still want to kind of confuse the
Okay.
audience as into like, oh, what's happened?
And
So
hook
when
them
she's
in.
running, we
Yeah.
won't actually, as an audience, know what
At
she's
first,
running
you
from.
probably won't, but you'll understand more as you go into
So can I just clarify this for myself then? So the concept is this girl is hit by a car. She's lying in the street. So regardless of how you film this, this is the plot, right? She's dying on the floor. As she's dying, her mum sees this accident or whatever, comes running down the street screaming and crying at her, yeah? As this girl starts to die, the ghost of her or whatever is running towards the scene of the accident as well. The ghost is trying to get the mum's attention, and then do we ever see at any point the face of the girl on the
Yes.
floor?
It's on the
Yes.
storyboard. There
Right.
is a shot from either a shoulder shot or point of view shot from the girl on the floor.
So the audience will get the concept that there are sort of two actors that look like you, one
Yeah.
of which is lying on the floor dying, the other one of which is frantically trying to get...
because
okay.
when you see the girl behind,
So it's a bit
it
like
then-
Ghost.
Yeah,
You've
it
seen
then
the scene in Ghost
goes to
when
her.
he comes out of his body and stuff like that. So that's quite important that you think about how you structure that bit so that it's clear, because otherwise it might just... there's nothing wrong with having montage and stuff, but,
Yeah.
but if it's not clear as to the progression of events and what's happened, I think it might just be with, what are they, twins? One twin's been hit by a car, the other twins come running in. You know, I think you need to be really clear about... And I think the other thing is, you are asking quite a lot of your actors, and it's all very well saying your mum can cry on demand, and that's great, good for her. This is sounds like quite an emotional sequence, and that's good, and I think you're brave for attempting that, but I think if you're directing it, right, I think you're going to have to do some work with your actors prior to your filming to be able to help them get to the point that they need to get to, because I don't think you can just expect people to turn up
Yeah,
and perform that scene. That sounds like quite a big ask, and that's good. You know, I think it sounds like a good idea, but just make sure that your actors are ready for that. Any other questions? I've got a couple more. Go on.
You mentioned like the legs of like a paramedic or something. Do you know who you would use?
not currently.
thinking
We're thinking
Alfie,
You could do that.
because he's going to be there and it's easy to work with
The other
him.
thing
Do
is
you
for
have all the costumes in?
I was going to say, yeah.
Yeah, we were going to
Not
look
yet,
into
we'll
renting or
yeah.
borrowing from other places.
The school, I believe, has a defibrillator now. And whether you'd be allowed to take it, I don't know. But okay, cool. Good questions. Any other, Michael?
You mentioned about the dreamlike state that's going to keep coming up. Have you looked into how the sounds will change from one to the other, from real life to the dream to...
We can make it so the sound's not as loud as it would be in real life.
So
Like
it almost muffled.
yeah, like muffled, and we'll try to edit it so it's not as like fixed square. The edges will be quite darkened, so you can tell it's like a dream instead of being in real life where everything's bright and all perfect.
Miss?
Are you going to say about filming dates? Or should I?
No, you can do that.
I just noticed on your filming dates that you were planning to do the 5th and obviously the previous group also said the 5th, so just in terms of equipment and things like that, that needs to be thought through. And then your other suggested date was the 19th, which is obviously very, very close to Christmas. So have you thought about the fact of people being very busy and needed elsewhere and family Christmas type things? Are you absolutely sure that that day is a viable
They
filming
are
day?
just rough dates at the moment, so they're not completely set in stone. We can change them depending on what people are doing, so that's absolutely fine.
Because there's also quite a gap between those two dates, so in terms of depending on what you're filming when, you just need to think that through, because actually 2 weeks later things could look and be very different sort of
Yeah.
weather-wise and things like that.
It might work, because if we did the scene at night with the car accident, with the headlights, that's at dark, but then the dream state could be on a cold, dark day to make it more eerie for the audience.
As the film progresses, is the concept of the film that this girl's like in a coma? She's not dead, is she?
No, she won't be dead.
It's kind of like your life flashing before your eyes,
So,
sort of
okay,
experience.
I'm just trying to understand the kind of the concept of it. So, does she actually die on the street then?
No.
Right. Okay.
She is dying, but she is not
I
dead.
know that we don't necessarily need to see all this, but I'm just thinking
Yeah.
it through. You mentioned like claustrophobia, and as a kind of a convention, and you wanted to try and capture this idea of her being trapped some way. Alfred Hitchcock was kind of the master of things like the way things are filmed. So, for example, Vertigo is about, and the way that that's filmed is very clever. So you might want to have a look at kind of, because actually back then when he was making films, there wasn't a huge amount of editing facilities available. It's all done, like Banksy says, through the use of the camera and the Dutch tilt and all that kind of stuff. So might be worth having a look at that. You do mention quite a lot about this kind of editing montage thing. And you said something about the edges of the video fading.
Yeah,
They'd be blacked out. So they're
Like
not,
like a vignette type thing?
Yeah.
yeah. We kind of don't want the memories themselves to be so clear. We want that to kind of be like as a memory. You know how you'd see your memories; they're not crystal clear.
Mm-hmm.
You want it. We also want to create the contrast between the real life and the memories. So we thought having the edges sort of muffled, like visually, it would help create that contrast.
Okay, all right. My last question, I don't know if anyone else, Sabrina?
Oh, I was just
Go on. Go on.
You know, you said the car crash will be at night, and then you wanted to do the, what did you say, vignette or something?
Yeah, like a sort
Yeah, so if that's black, it wouldn't, would you maybe think of doing white for a bigger contrast?
for the car crash, that is real life, so that's not going to have edges blurred out. It's only
Yeah.
for dreams and memories where the edges are going to be blurred. 'Cause
Yeah,
the car
but if
crash-
it's black,
It will
it
be
might be a
brighter
bit.
in the dream sequence, but it will be more like faded out into
car crash, on your storyboard, you've just got this shot of the headlights.
Mm-hmm.
Does the car ever move? Do we see the car moving, or are you trying to
We
suggest?
were going to try and do that. The headlights are going to come closer,
Yeah,
but it won't be like a. Well,
you don't need a
we're
stunt
going to try
driver.
and do like sound effects and the lights to create the idea of a car crash.
In my mind,
Actually
I
happening.
see like a dark, rainy night. What happens if you don't have that?
Well, we can
Will it work?
most likely
Well, the
get the
night's
darkness, but rain isn't necessarily a must, is it?
It would look good for rain,
Look,
but
if it happens,
it's
then
just
that's
mainly
good.
dark.
So,
If it doesn't
okay,
happen-
my next question then was, do you have access to a car and
Yes.
someone
Yes.
who is going to drive it?
Alfie's one.
Alfie's
She's going to do it.
Alfie's mum is the centre of the universe. Alright, cool. Miss Scott, do you have any other questions?
No.
Anyone else? No? Happy with that? Good. Thank you very much. Give them a clap. Very good. Well done.